Losing spending power due to inflation is never a good thing. When you're on a fixed income, you really need to be careful. On today's show, we're going to offer several ways to handle the inflation as you go into and live through retirement.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy.
You can have wonderful documents, but if they don't work for the assets you have and the income stream that you need, it's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money.
Asset protection, tax reduction, holistic planning.
You got to make sure that the team's working together, because if the team's not working together, somebody's going to screw up.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
There's so many people selling product. Don't buy product until you have a plan.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth. Here we are again with the Wealth Training Academy, the name of this weekly show and educational outreach on the part of wealth coach Ed Storer and his fiduciary team. It's the name of the firm, too, the Wealth Training Academy. Speaking of educational outreach, let me just remind you, there are 2 Social Security workshops coming up, October 13th and October 18th at City Range Steakhouse, Savvy Social Security. You want to sign up there at 6:30 both nights. These are going to be great events and a delicious meal to go along with it. Go to the website wealthtrainingacademy.com, click upcoming events, and scroll down to those 2 dates for Savvy Social Security. Ed, here we go once again. Greetings to you.
Hello, my friends. I hope everybody's doing well today and are extremely happy and go lucky.
You know, I was looking at 2 years ago, we really were happy-go-lucky. Well, not really, because we were in the middle of COVID, but just looking at the inflation rate, we were 1.3% in August of 2020, and now it's over 8%. So we're going to be looking at inflation here, Ed, and things that we can do to get through this.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is everything that you do long-term actually creates a pattern. And so when we start studying patterns, we can look at what the trends will be going forward. And that's why I love history. History, you don't look at history for the idea of what did it do to us and what can we look back and go, we wish. We should look at history and go, what can we prevent going forward? Mm-hmm. And so when we look at our spending patterns, we look at what we're spending on monthly, let's just use that word budget, okay? Mm-hmm. Even though nobody likes to talk about it, let's use it.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to just call it what it is. But you can, instead of just going, okay, what's happening for the next week and put dollars to action, in other words, go back and look over the last go back even 8 months and see where you've been spending your money. You might be surprised to actually see how inflation is really affecting you on a month-to-month basis. And it's important to understand that, especially with inflation being the way it is. And I know they're saying it's 8.2 and 8 point whatever. Real inflation isn't that. I mean, and that's why you need to look at your spending pattern, and you can calculate going, wow, inflation is affecting me here. Inflation is infecting me. It is infecting you. Affecting you here, there, and so forth. But once you get a pattern, you can then step into basically doing an in-depth budget and do an analysis. First, you want to calculate your fixed costs. You want to know, okay, here's my fixed costs. My fixed costs are basically my mortgage, utilities. We'll throw the phone bill and cable bill in there, and they're really not fixed, but we'll throw them in there. And insurance expenses. And I cannot speak this morning. And just understand those, okay? And make sure that you have that. Then what you'll do is go back and start calculating your variable costs, such as groceries, eating out, entertainment, hobbies, clothing, loaning money to friends, relatives, and wherever you loan your money to. And go back and and look and say, wow, okay, now that I've put a pattern together, I can now calculate an in-depth budget and do a proper analysis, because you'll see how you're being affected. Now, here's the crazy thing. Yes, everybody's overall inflation is roughly the same, but each individual's inflation is entirely different.
Yeah.
And you need to know that, especially in today's world. See, because everybody's trying to pitch a product and saying this is the product to solve the problem. And the problem isn't even known yet. So until you figure out what's going on, until you figure out the gaps in your world, until you figure out the idea that, okay, accumulation is not the same as distribution. In other words, putting money away for retirement, you cannot live the same way as if you're in retirement and spending those monies down. So you need to really understand your gaps. And I keep talking about this, and we keep going over it. And as a matter of fact, we've helped so many families for the last 3 to 5 weeks with the gap analysis that we're going to do the same thing. We're going to offer our gap analysis, and we only have 5 spots. We're going to do our gap analysis for anybody who gives us a call. If you have really the gap analysis, and I'm going to say the gap analysis is really designed for those who have $1 million and above. But we're going to table it, and we're going to bring it back down to those middle class right with us, $250,000 or above. If you have $250,000 above for retirement and you put it away in your retirement accounts, we'll do our gap analysis. We'll look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. We'll help you figure out the gaps, and we will help you figure out your spending pattern. Now, we don't really care how much you're spending on dog food, but you need to know how much you're spending on dog food. But you need to understand where your expenses are. That's the only way you can take control. Now, I'm going to share this, and this has happened. We had a couple this past week. When we went through the gap analysis, they were not happy. They found out some things that they did not really even anticipate or take into consideration. So when you sign up for the gap analysis, be ready for the truth. Be ready for what you need to do. And only sign up for the gap analysis if you're serious, because we are on a mission to save $30 million in hidden fees and taxes for you all who are listening to me today. We have a 10-year goal, $30 million, cutting costs and reducing taxes. We're on a mission. We need your help. We want to do this, but it starts with the gap analysis. So my team's standing by. Give us a call.
It starts with the gap analysis, and that could be the start of your overall retirement plan. It is revealing. 800-563-7030. Call it or text 800-563-7030. If you text, just enter hashtag WTA. A couple of questions, Ed, for you on possible delays or postponements maybe due to where we are now, and not just with inflation, but also interest rates. One, on inflation, should we postpone a big expense like a trip or home remodeling? And should we delay temporarily any thoughts of downsizing because of where mortgage rates are?
That's an interesting question. And we get a lot of that. And it's really good oversight when you start looking at inflation. The interesting thing about relocating is you want to study the city that you're going to move into. First and foremost, I would say, getting back to kind of the logistics, if you would, of where you're located and where you are based on your stage in life, it's a good idea to try to pay off your mortgage first and foremost, okay? Unless you have an opportunity that you're running a business out of your house, or there's opportunity with inside the leverage opportunity with inside the equity in your house, then that makes a totally different scenario. But if you're not doing that, then paying off your house is a big thing to do, because it'll increase your cash flow throughout the month. The other thing that you want to take into consideration in the idea of relocating is where you're relocating to. So the interesting thing is we have clients all over the country, And some of them love to live in Texas and Florida, and because they have no state tax. But we went and started running numbers with them. Their housing expenses versus where they moved here from South Carolina is so much more expensive.
So it's a wash.
Yeah. It just didn't make sense. And they were going, wow, we looked at this, we were thinking about this, and boom, they moved.
What if you weren't going to move out of the area right here, stay in the upstate, but downsize? Should you wait? Because if you sell your home, then you're looking at higher mortgage rates, right? If you're buying a new, smaller home, maybe.
Well, therein lies the question of, have we paid off our home? Have we utilized all the equity? Because here's the thing. Let's just make this up. Let's say our house is worth $500,000 and it's paid for. And we're going to say, you know something? This $500,000 house has an acre and 2 acres with it. And I've got all this maintenance. I've got 4 or 5 bedrooms. I've got 3.5 baths, yada, yada, yada. And I'm not a real estate guy, so the yada, yada, yada covered all that real estate part.
It always does.
It does. And so you're saying to yourself, okay, it's more maintenance to take care of this house than we need to. So you need to study your city that you're going to live in. So let's just pick on good old Greenville. We're sitting here in Greenville. And we want to move from Simpsonville to maybe we want to move out to Taylor's in the new neighborhood and so forth. Well, the cost of homes in Simpsonville are more expensive than the cost in Taylor's. The taxes in Simpsonville are more expensive than the ones in Taylor's. Now, I'm not saying Taylor's is better than Simpsonville. I'm not saying Taylor's is worse than Simpsonville. I'm just saying what it is. So a house in Simpsonville may cost you, let's just say $50,000 more than the same exact house in Taylor's. But there are also more opportunities in Taylor's to buy a smaller home that needs to be remodeled because it's an older style neighborhood. And you could take that, remodel that home, have less expenses to have to pay for. The maintenance will be less. The taxes will be less. Basically, the best thing to do, if you're ever thinking about downsizing or repositioning or making a life change like that, is come in and do our gap analysis. We'll look at this for you. We do this all the time with our clients. We run their taxes. We figure out their investments. We look at their insurance costs, even their homeowners insurance. We look at all their estate planning. What's the best thing to do? And we run the numbers first. Once you have the numbers, you know what you can do. It starts with the gap analysis, and it starts with a telephone call. So give us a call.
And it's a limited opportunity to schedule this, and it's at no cost, no obligation. So the best thing to do would be go ahead and call in or text. 800-563-7030 is the number to schedule. Or you can text just and simply enter hashtag WTA if you text in. Again, the number is 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, more to come. Ed, what's next?
We're going to outline some surefire techniques for retirement savings, from the longevity to asset allocation and what you need to do when we come right back.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, and the conversation continues with wealth coach Ed Storer. It's all about shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth, and a team effort getting behind your retirement planning with expertise in taxes, investments, insurance, like our guest last week, Miriam, and estate planning. And it's all there, all in one office there, under one roof, with the Wealth Training Academy. And they take it on the road too. They're taking the show on the road, coming up with 2 more dates with the Social Security Workshop, October 13th and 18th at City Range Steakhouse. This is great food and great information together. And you can pick one of those 2 nights that work best for you. If you want to sign up for it, just go to wealthtrainingacademy.com, click upcoming events, scroll down till you see Savvy Social Security. Pick your date, October 13th or 18th. Well, Ed, we're back into the conversation, opening up with, of course, looking at inflation. Well, now let's look at making sure that we are set right, fortified, planned properly for our retirement, and everything that we need to consider. Good practices, too. Definitely consider the fact that we live longer. Now there's the term longevity risk. There's risk.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at that word, longevity risk.
Yeah.
It almost makes you go
like an oxymoron, kind of.
I know, right? Kind of crazy. No, but part of it is true. I've never heard the words though. I'm living too long.
Right.
I just don't. I've never heard those. I've never heard anybody utter those words.
No.
Not maybe jokingly or something like that,
right.
But not seriously. But it really is a serious scenario, and that is because our lifespans are getting longer. They're not necessarily getting healthier, though. So we need to make sure to take that into consideration. One of the things that we used to always talk about is, planning until you pass away. Well, with everything that's going on and what we just talked about with the longevity, you really need to increase that longevity by at least 10 to 15 years. So if you thought that you were a male and you're going to pass away, let's say 80, you better knock that thing out to about 90, 92. Ladies, you're going to usually outlive the men. Statistically, the Social Security's widows statistics, 98% of all widows receiving Social Security are women, and they outlive their spouse by 14 years. That's just crazy numbers. I know, but that's the Social Security statistics. And they should know because they're paying the money out, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we build a retirement in and around that idea that we're going to live longer. So that might mean that, well, to be quite honest, you might want to work a little longer. You might want to start planning for opportunity. The idea of put your money away in safety based off your age, those are old rules. Those are your grandpa and grandma's rules. Those aren't your rules. The world has changed, technology's changed, and you're living longer. So you need to make sure that you have plenty of money left. Even at the end, it's not about leaving it to your kids or to your charity. It's just to make sure you don't run out of money. So whatever time period you had thought, just add another 7 to 10 years to that thing, because that's what's really going to happen. It's just statistically there. Now, please do not prove us wrong and pass away early.
Well, a lot of people underestimate their life, though.
They do. And they underestimate the idea of how important it is to have savings set aside. Okay. And what I mean by that is, look, the stock market, as they say, the Lord giveth and the stock market taketh away. Mm-hmm. So we have to make sure that, especially in what's going on, look, we all know the stock market's down. We all know that the 401ks may have turned into 201ks. And you have to look at that. You have to take into consideration what's going on. But you have to plan your safety net. And what I mean by that is, in times like this, when the stock market's dropping, and you've got great companies that you love. And now I really want to make sure we're specific on this. These are accounts that are IRAs. I'm talking specifically about IRAs right this second. Selling companies that are good companies that have great track records that are going to be there forever. Selling those when it's down to go to cash or something of that nature may not make a lot of sense. Now, everybody's different, and I just want to make sure I'm not trying to say this is what you should be doing. But instead of selling while the market's down, that's the whole purpose of why you should have put money in cash to begin with. This is where we start living off of our cash. This is where we start taking those cash positions and start buying into the market, your dollar cost average back into the market, and picking up those companies that are really good. Now, I'm not saying you do this with all your money. Please don't go to extremes and exaggerations. But understanding when to take advantage of the market like this is to go get some great companies and buy them while they're down, and use that cash that's sitting around making point nothing, that's losing to inflation. We just talked about inflation being at 8.4, or what I really consider is 11 when you really start looking at inflation. That you take advantage of that, because the high yield savings that you have isn't making that kind of return, and you're losing it to inflation. So go ahead and buy those companies that are going to come back. Buy those companies that are just down right now. Look at the management, understand that, but don't sell off just to be selling off. Now, reversing that, companies outside of your retirement accounts, you might want to do some tax loss harvesting, taking advantage of those, but remember the 31-day wash rule. And if I'm talking gibberish that you don't understand, this is a great reason, again, why you come in and you do a gap analysis with us, because we'll evaluate all this for you. We'll look at all your investment positions. We'll look at all your 401ks, all your holdings, everything that you've got going on. My team will look at, and they'll give you the total independent fiduciary answer that you want. They're not going to try to sell product. That's not what this is about. You're looking at this, and we're looking at this and helping you in a fiduciary way. Our job is to work for you, not to sell product. You pay us. We don't work for companies when it comes on investing and so forth. We're looking at things. That's why we're always talking about how do we reduce the hidden fees and commissions you're building up inside your investments, inside your 401ks and insurance products. We're trying to save you money. So take advantage of the gap analysis. Like I said, if you have $250,000 or more set away for retirement, we'll help you out. We'll do it for free. We'll look at your taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning. We'll look at it all. Just you have to be one of the 5, and my team's standing by. So, and by the way, if for some reason they don't answer your call, just leave a message and say, I want to be one of the 5, and we'll make sure we get you in the order.
And 5 opportunities at no cost, no obligation for the gap analysis. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. If you text, and you can, just enter hashtag WTA. So when we look at diversification and asset allocation, the strategies necessary, of course, it's always important. Do you need to, with your existing clients, make temporary changes in those strategies given the volatility and inflation?
Oh, absolutely. There's no such thing as constant stock market.
Right. It's no static planning either.
That's right. No, there's look, once you put pen to paper, that plan is old. That's why we have our system in place that is basically takes everything into consideration. Again, your taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning, what's going on with the market, inflation, taxation, all this, the costs of everything, the volatility of the market. Asset allocation and diversification is important to the idea of setting things up. As to, it's a general way of doing things, but it may not necessarily always stay that way, which is why we always talk about the idea of income first and then growth second. See, I have yet to meet the person who doesn't need income. So we had a couple in here just last week. It was interesting. They were a fun couple. They had a lot of money in cryptocurrency, and we were talking to them. And I was asking them, I go, okay, so when you sell this cryptocurrency, oh, well, why would we need to sell it? I go, well, don't you need income? And it was, well, what do you mean, don't I need income? I said, well, you have all this cryptocurrency and it's great. And you have all this gold. That's wonderful too. But at some point in time, you got to sell that to have money to spend. So you can't spend cryptocurrency, and you can't spend the gold bars and the gold coins. You just can't spend those because you got to turn them into money, currency, income. And they went, oh, yeah. I said, okay, so what's your income strategy? And they didn't have one. They were brilliant people, please understand. But sometimes, unless you're doing this all the time, see, they were engineers, and they were great at engineering. But they don't do the financial planning. They don't do planning. They don't do taxes. They don't do that for a living. There's a wonderful little commercial out there that talks about the idea of there's a doctor on the phone line and this guy's holding a scalpel in his hand and the doctor's talking to him over the telephone. Okay, just make a decision from here to here to here and here, and you'll be fine. And the guy on the telephone goes, well, shouldn't you be doing this? No, you can handle this major operation all by yourself. No,
Right.
You can't. Look, we retire people. This is what we do. That's the only thing we do. We retire folks. We help business owners sell their business. We show them how to increase the value for the business. I mean, bottom line, you need to understand the health savings accounts. You need to understand about the idea of paying off your debts and mortgage. You need to understand how to increase income. And maybe an annuity is part of it. I don't know. We'll run the numbers and figure it out. Just because I'm mentioning annuities, I'm not saying that you should be there, by the way. Again, one more time. But annuities play a big part. And by the way, Social Security is the largest annuity you'll ever own. And a lot of people have pensions. Those are annuities too. Bottom line, it comes down to the gap analysis. What is it that you want? Where do you want to be? What kind of income do you need? And what kind of money do you want to live on? Taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. You're going to have to know it all when you hit 65. So once you come in, let us help you and take you through the retirement problems of needing to know all this when I have my whole team here. Attorneys, CPAs, investment people, insurance people. They're all here. Give us a call.
It's 800-563-7030 to schedule. 800-563-7030. Call or text. You text, if you do that, enter hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. What's up after the break, Ed?
Well, I just kind of talked about it a little bit, and well, congratulations. You're now retired. Okay, now what? From the bucket list to the planning your trips to how do we keep it going and giving it to the kids when we come back.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. It's the Wealth Training Academy, and back at it, consumer advocate Dave Perkins with Ed Storr, wealth coach Ed, and a great team behind him and getting behind your retirement at this fiduciary firm. Available at 800-563-7030 to schedule your gap analysis. And also, you can schedule your dinner and informational, educational night out with more Social Security workshops. They were so successful, the team added 2 more events. It's Savvy Social Security. 2 more dates, October 13th and 18th. These are at City Range Steakhouse. So great food too, and camaraderie and great education on Social Security. You can schedule by going to wealthtrainingacademy.com. Go to upcoming events, scroll down to Savvy Social Security, whichever of those dates in October work for you. Again, at wealthtrainingacademy.com. Interesting, Ed, that we're going to talk about more than financial here in this segment because proper retirement planning is about more than financial. It's about making sure that you enjoy what you deserve to enjoy your retirement, you know, the fun things, even the bucket list.
Even the bucket list. You know, it's interesting that people say, well, I'll survive in retirement. We don't want you to survive. We want you to thrive in retirement. Just getting by is no fun. I mean, that's what work was. I mean, you know, job just over broke. Let's not do that. Let's take it and have fun with it. And one of the things that we'll always talk about, and you might want to think about this as you go through your life and think about the idea of, well, what is it that I want to do when I hit that wonderful time and ride off into the sunset and take that last check and call it the day, right? The final day, as to what's the purpose of my retirement? Why am I retiring? What is it that I want? And people like to call that, well, the bucket list. What is it that I have been putting off that I want to do now that I have all this time on my hands? And the funny thing is, it's amazing. All of a sudden you're retired and you're busier now than you ever were. So you have to go back to work just to relax. But
Right.
The crazy thing is, this is the time where we go, wait a second, you know, let me jot down some of the things I've always wanted to do. Maybe you want to, I don't know, take a trip out west somewhere and look at the national parks. Maybe you wanted to learn to play guitar. Maybe you just wanted to fulfill somebody's wishes. Maybe you want to travel, play sports or hobbies. Whatever it is that you've been putting off, don't put it off anymore. Stop it. Don't put it off. Live in today, because you may not have tomorrow. That's why the Lord called it the present. It was the gift he gave us. So with that idea, live in the moment, live and enjoy, because you've been working the whole time to get to this point. So the bucket list, as everybody calls it, I love to call it the purpose. What is it you want to achieve? What is it you want to do? How do you want to get there? That's so important, because until you have those ideas, those dreams, those wants, what you're trying to do, you're actually going to be running around bored. So if you don't know all that and you don't know what you want to do, don't retire. You'll actually get older quickly. It's a proven statistics. The other thing that you need to understand once you get into the world of retirement, and again, congratulations, is fitness. We need to make sure we're continuously moving. We need to make sure that we're continuously stretching, says the guy who's working on it constantly. I mean,
to the guy who needs to do a better job working on it.
I mean, we have to exercise, and now we can build it into our routine. And now we need to keep moving. Now's the time to get into a new gym. And by the way, with the Medicare programs and so forth that are out there, they offer gym memberships. They offer these programs and classes as part of the Medicare program. So again, if you haven't spoken to anybody, make sure to give us a call, talk to Miriam, and she'll show you all these programs and opportunities with inside there for fitness programs and your health. Okay. Here's the crazy thing. And this is true. This is actually true. We eat worse as we're working throughout the working years than we do when we get into the retirement years. That's because we're all running around grabbing quick bites of something. You know, the boss is hammering us on the head, get this job done, and we're wolfing down our food, and we're drinking extra coffee, and we're putting all kinds of stuff and poison into that, sweeteners, which by the way, I do too. I'm almost telling on myself here. And our sleep patterns get messed up because we're working split shifts, or we're doing this, or we're traveling, and there's no such better place to have a great night's sleep than in your own bed. And it's hard to do that when you're on the road traveling and you're going to meetings and everything. And we're back doing that again. COVID shut that all down, but we're back doing it again. So you need to have a commitment to your health. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to take care of your financial fitness, which is you, okay, and making sure the money's right. But all that doesn't matter if you're not around. So you have to make sure that you take care of this. And the crazy thing is, that's part of our gap analysis. We sit down and say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to maintain our lifestyle? What are we going to do to make sure we stay healthy? Are there things we need to know about to help you move through this world thing called retirement? It's all new for you. You've never been here before. We've been here for the last 32 years. This is what we do. This is all we focused on, is exiting for business owners and retirement planning for individuals. That's all we've ever done. And our gap analysis does all this. We take all this into consideration, all your finances, all your insurances, all your taxes, your estate planning. And your estate planning really has a lot to do with your health planning. Why? Because you have to make sure those powers of attorney, both medical and financial, are up to date. So it's all tied together once you hit that world of retirement. There isn't one segment that's away from it. And you need to have a team that's pulling it all together for you. And that's what our gap analysis will do. So if you got $250,000 or more sitting off to the side for retirement, and you're trying to go, hey, what do I need to do with this? Because I need a team to help me do this now, because I don't want to do the surgery on my own. Give us a call. We're here to help.
And it's 800-563-7030, because if you do have that 250,000 or more, it is not yet a plan. Get this team together doing that surgery, getting these strategies together for you. A call or a text to 800-563-7030. I know this is a broad question, but when we're working, most of us, that really defines us, our work. So when we retire, what are things that can define us?
Things that can define us. Wow, that's interesting. Well, it really comes down to the purpose. It really does. Is defining us is the purpose of what we want to do. And, this is going to sound crazy, but men have a hard time, more so than ladies, than on the purpose side, because we've been told since we were little kids, Johnny, go get a job and bust your butt at the job for the rest of your life, and then someday you'll put enough away where you'll have time to enjoy it.
All right.
So, and our social aspect is usually in and around our workplace. That's really where it is. So one of the things that we have found that actually helps folks through retirement is the idea of potentially going back and getting a part-time job. So you're going, well, wait a second, I just left the job. Yeah, well, maybe you've always wanted to, I don't know, maybe you've always wanted to spin pottery, the pottery wheels. Maybe you've always wanted to do that and you've never done it before. And maybe there's a little spot that you can go to, a little store in the neighborhood or something like that, that they need some part-time help. You can go do that part-time. Maybe you've always wanted to, be some kind of gardener or something. Maybe you could go to Home Depot or Lowe's and work in the gardening department on a part-time basis. Maybe you actually really loved your job so much but they downsized you and you didn't really want to get let go. Maybe you can give them a call and say, hey, can I work part-time? The beautiful part about this is if you start working part-time or you want to become a consultant or something, there are tremendous amount of tax opportunities in there. Part-time business owners, that's one of the greatest things that you could do in retirement. And that's actually, I do a lot of that with folks. I coach them, I show them, I teach them how to run small businesses in retirement, things that they even thought about. For instance, one of the clients that we just talked to just last week has a piece of rental property, and he never thought about turning it into really a small business. He goes, I've had that rental property for 15 years. I was just getting some extra income on it. No, it's a small business. And we showed him how to take that and turn it into a profitable small business. The other thing that you want to take in consideration when you're in retirement and for the idea of moving forward and so forth is make sure your brain stays sharp. See, if you're just sitting back on the front porch, rocking back and forth, and you have no goals, you have no things going on, then your brain just goes, turns into mush. That was a technical sound.
It was a mush sound.
That was a mush sound. Okay, I just wanted to let you know. No one can see me squishing my hands going like this, but that's a mush sound. So there's these wonderful apps now. The old days we used to call them the brain games. Remember that? And there's actually a show called Brain Games. Mm-hmm. Make sure you stay sharp. Continue to read. Do crossword puzzles. Things that are going to keep your mind going. Because if you don't keep your mind going, you're going to lose it. And if you lose your mind, then you have nothing. I mean, it's just terrible. So don't let it go to waste. Increase it. And your mind is just like a muscle, by the way. You have to keep exercising it. So just for a recap, make sure you get your spending correct. Make sure that you understand your purpose. Don't be lazy. Get out there and exercise. Do some stretching, if anything. Keep your mind focused. And best of all, get help. Understand you don't have to do this by yourself. You don't have to go this alone. We've been here. We've done this. This is what we do. It's our gap analysis. Give us a call. We got 5 spots this week.
5 at no cost, no obligation, and you can claim yours. Your gap analysis, very revealing, and you'll get a better handle on where you are heading towards retirement. 800-563-7030. You can call or you can text hashtag WTA 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Got a question you want Ed to answer on the show? Just go to wealthtrainingacademy.com, and any tab you click on, you get a box in the right of your screen where you can reach out in any way to the Wealth Training Academy. And yeah, we do have questions for you to tackle, Ed.
Absolutely, from spousal benefits to taking advantage of health savings accounts. Questions about that and more when we come back.
You drive through this to get to this, and you really want to be here. And there's someone who can get you to your destination, retirement where you want to be, instead of here or here. And that someone is Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030.
If bad money habits constrain your financial progress, it's time to alter your behavior. Here's another bad money habit to break.
Being financially illiterate. The financial world can be extremely complicated, and most people don't rush home to read the latest financial news. But knowledge is power, and some knowledge of the financial world can be empowering. Now, we're not talking about getting a degree in economics from Harvard, but reading an article online every day can greatly increase your financial understanding. Many are very interesting, and the search is not hard at all. Online news feeds are so intuitive, once you click on one story, more and more will come. It's amazing how a daily read will turn on that financial light bulb in your head. An article or two a day will keep the bad money habits away. Back to the Wealth Training Academy, and let me direct you to the website, and then we'll get into Wealth Coach Ed answering your questions. wealthtrainingacademy.com. What can you do there? Lots. Any tab you click on, you get the box on the right of your screen. You can ask a question for Ed to answer on the air. You can schedule the gap analysis. You can suggest a retirement-related topic for the show, or even a small business-related topic for the show. You can also click resources and radio show to hear the podcast. The podcast is available also wherever you download your podcast. You can click upcoming events and scroll down to Savvy Social Security and sign up for an educational night at City Range Steakhouse on Social Security, October 13th or 18th, whichever works best for you. So be sure to sign up for that. It was so successful and popular, they added more dates to that. Well, Ed, speaking of podcasts, we have podcast listener questions we're devoting this segment to. We'll start out with one from Rome, Georgia. And they're saying this: I keep getting calls from folks looking to sell me precious metals or maybe convert my IRA into gold. Is this legitimate? And if so, is it smart?
It all depends on the legitimacy part of all this. Some companies are legitimate, some companies aren't. So I can't answer that. Just do your homework on who to look at. Just remember, a fiduciary will always have your best interest no matter what. Products are the result of planning. So unless you have planning first, products don't matter. And I just want to backtrack and just look, if you've ever built a house and somebody goes, here's a hammer, go build a house. And you look around, you go, there's a lot of land there, and they got a bunch of trees on it, and the ground isn't even, and there's all kinds of stuff you got to do first and foremost. And you go, what's the hammer for? Well, go build a house. And you go, well, that's just a hammer. Yeah, well, go build a house. Well, I don't have the plans. I don't have the foundation. I don't know how big. I don't know how small. I don't know how high. I don't know everything that I need to be doing. Put it all together first and foremost, and then I need the hammer. Oh, okay. That's the same thing here. Mm-hmm. If somebody's calling you to say, hey, look, you need gold. Hey, you need convert your money to precious metals. They don't know that. And the best thing to do is, well, have a plan. If your plan says you need precious metals, then go get precious metals as long as it's within your plan. If you're supposed to have gold in your IRA, then go get the gold in your IRA based on that. Now, I keep saying that because this is not the first question I've had like this in a month and a half. And a lot of people are being sold product as the answer, and product is not the answer. The plan is the answer. Product is the tool after you have the plan. So my answer to you on this question is no, if it's built into your plan. And if you don't have a plan, it is not smart. So smart things to do is save money and reduce taxes. SMART, S-M-A-R-T, save money and reduce taxes. That's a smart plan. And it starts with a gap analysis. And it starts with a telephone call to my team who's standing by.
And that number is 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Thanks to the podcast listeners, and we're devoting the questions segment to them today. Boone, North Carolina is next. I have $640,000 in a previous employer's 401k and $100,000 in my new employer's plan. Do you recommend that I merge the two? Both funds offer similar investment options, and my only motivation really is on simplifying paperwork during retirement, but there could be some other advantages I'm not aware of.
Actually, there may be, and this is a great question. The one thing that if you ever submit questions to us, I really wish you would please add your age, because that makes a huge difference. And let me explain why, first and foremost. If this person's asking me a question like this and they're 50 to 55 years old, it may be one direction. If this person's asking me the question and they're 60 years old, it's another direction. And the reason why I mean by that is you may not want to roll all your money out of an IRA, your 401k, if you're between the ages of 55 and 59, because if you get laid off or something of that nature, you can access those monies without a penalty. Now, there'll still be taxes, but you can access those without that 10% penalty, or actually 20% penalty now, because it's in a 401k and you have to pay taxes and so forth like that. But if it's in an IRA, and if you're 59 and a half, you could roll that to an IRA. There's no penalties, and then it would make sense to not even be in the 401k for your previous employer. So your previous employer, if you're over age 59 and a half, I would roll that to an IRA because of costs, ability to be able to invest in multiple different things, access to your money, the estate planning scenario that has just changed tremendously. And we're doing a private class on that for our wealth members. Because the 10-year rules and the requirement of distribution, they're done in those 10-year rules, as well as the spousal benefits. All those things have changed. You need to know all those. So I would never combine the old 401k into the new 401k if you're over age 59 and a half. If you're younger, it might make sense to do that and combine the two together, depending on the different investment options. Again, I would really sit down and look at the taxation, because maybe you want to roll part of that into an IRA and start doing a big conversion to Roth. Again, I don't know if this is pre-tax or post-tax dollars. In other words, pre-tax 401k or Roth 401k. Those are things that really need to kind of sit down and have a conversation. Or, by the way, we can do a virtual call, because this is in Boone, North Carolina. We can do a virtual call. We do virtual calls all the time. We have Zoom, we have GoToMeetings, we have team meetings through Microsoft. We have all the different software. It'd be like you're sitting in your living room, I'm sitting here in the office, or my team's sitting here in the office, and we have the team around here answering the questions that you need to be answered. So it doesn't matter where you're at. We can help you. We have people in China. We have people in Dubai. We can help people all over the place. That's what we do. We have them all over the country. It's no longer COVID is taking care of that. It's no longer, you have to be here in the hometown. Now, it's always nice if you come into the office. We love people coming into the office. It's more fun. But to get back to this question, estate planning is an issue in this question. Taxation is definitely an answer, a situation in this question, because of do I convert or don't I convert, and how much it's going to cost me. Combining assets and accessibility for that based off age. and then really kind of looking at what the investment options are and what's the most effective investment I can get for the least amount of costs are very, very important. So that's a gap analysis question if I've ever heard one. So give us a call.
Yeah, it really is. And shout out to App State at Boone, the number to reach Ed. And yeah, you can schedule virtually 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Wheeling, West Virginia. I'm self-employed with approximately $1.2 million in various IRAs, 401ks, couple of annuities, and I also have another $250,000 in liquid savings. Now, I will probably never fully retire, but I do fear taking a major hit on my portfolio. I'm turning 68 this year. My wife will be 65. Any suggestions for allocation and diversification of my portfolio?
Interesting. This is a question that really I would start going, okay, talk to me about your tax scenario first and foremost, because are those 1.2 million in various IRAs, is that pre-tax or post-tax? In other words, is it Roth IRA, or is it pre-tax IRA? Roth 401ks are tax-free. Pre-tax 401ks are taxable. And you need to make sure that how you're taking that money out when you get to that wonderful time when you want to start spending these dollars, you want to do it in the most tax efficient manner possible. You're sitting on $250,000 liquidity and savings. Now, is that savings inside those accounts, or is that savings outside those accounts? If it's savings inside those accounts, well, you shouldn't be sitting in cash in any kind of account that's not making any money. That just doesn't make any sense. You're losing to inflation. But if it's money outside, maybe you want to start utilizing that money to pay and convert some money over to Roth and do it in the most tax efficient manner possible. So when you take required minimum distribution, you don't have to worry about things anymore. Because you're turning 68 and your wife's 65, at 72, you have to take required minimum distribution. The other thing is you might want to look at the expenses that you're building up inside there. So this is a gap analysis question and answer all day long. I wish somebody like this give us a call. This is something we can do, help you out tremendously. Taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. We're here to help. Give us a call on this. This type of person, I wish I could go in more detail, but I'm running out of time. But give us a call. This is a great thing to help somebody with.
And here it is to schedule 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Call or text hashtag WTA to that number. Visit the website wealthtrainingacademy.com to sign up for the Social Security workshop at City Range Steakhouse, wealthtrainingacademy.com. Click upcoming events.
It is the Wealth Training Academy, and we are here to help you shield, protect, grow your business and your wealth. Until next week, my friends.
The Wealth Training Academy, LLC is a marketing and training facility designed to help business owners as well as pre- and post-retirees regain control of their business and personal wealth. Wealth Training Academy also rents the facility out to other organizations and the utilization of its materials. Wealth Training Academy's tax division utilizes the Tax Advisory Group, LLC, which is an independent tax reduction planning and preparation firm. Wealth Training Academy's investment division utilizes Idle Hill Advisors, LLC, which is an SEC-registered investment advisor firm. Certain appropriately licensed individuals are registered to offer investments through Idle Hill Advisors, LLC. They are not affiliated with any entities listed herein. They also do not offer tax, legal, or insurance advice. Past performance is no indication of future results. All investment carries an inherent risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Wealth Training Academy's insurance division utilizes Insurance Made Easy, LLC, which is an independent insurance firm. Certain individuals are licensed to offer insurance through Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Wealth Training Academy's estate planning division utilizes Essential Estate Planning. With our attorney groups, they can help assist with various legal matters. Wealth Training Academy's business division utilizes Maximizing Value, LLC, which is an independent coaching and consulting firm. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Wealth Training Academy or any of its divisions. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific tax, investment, insurance, or legal advice or recommendation for any business or individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.